What would you do if you found out that the nurse who cared for your newborn baby was actually a serial killer? That's the horrifying reality that many parents in Chester, England, had to face when they learned that Lucy Letby, a neonatal nurse at the Countess of Chester Hospital, was convicted of murdering 7 babies and attempting to murder 6 more between June 2015 and June 2016. In this video, we'll explore the shocking case of Lucy Letby, the UK's most prolific child serial killer in modern times, and try to understand what drove her to commit such heinous crimes. Lucy Letby was born in 1990 in Hereford, a city in Western England. She had a seemingly normal and happy childhood, growing up with her parents and younger brother. She was described by her friends as a kind, caring, and bubbly person who loved animals and children. She studied nursing at the University of Chester and graduated in 2011. She then joined the neonatal unit at the Countess of Chester Hospital as a staff nurse in 2013. The neonatal unit is where premature or sick babies are treated and monitored until they are well enough to go home. It is a place where parents expect their babies to receive the best possible care and attention from dedicated and compassionate staff. But for some parents, it turned out to be a place of horror and tragedy. In June 2015, the hospital noticed an alarming spike in the number of deaths and collapses of babies in the neonatal unit. Between June 2015 and June 2016, there were 17 deaths and 16 collapses of babies on the unit, compared to an average of 3 deaths per year before that period. The hospital launched an internal investigation and contacted the police in May 2017. The police then launched a massive inquiry into the deaths and collapses of 43 babies on the unit between March 2015 and July 2016. In July 2018, Lucy Letby was arrested for the first time on suspicion of murder. She was released on bail pending further inquiries. She was arrested again in June 2019 and November 2020 as the investigation continued. In November 2020, she was charged with 8 counts of murder and 10 counts of attempted murder. The trial began in October 2022 at Manchester Crown Court. Letby was accused of killing 7 infants, 5 boys and 2 girls, while they were in her care in the neonatal unit of Chester Hospital in 2015 and 2016. She's currently facing 22 charges related to those deaths, as well as the attempted murder of 10 more infants. During her trial, which had been happening since October 2022, several colleagues testified to witnessing unusual behavior from the former nurse. In one instance of attempted murder, Letby tried to murder an infant, referred to as Child G, while the baby's assigned nurse was on a break. Under Letby's care, expert witness Dr. Dewey Evans testified the baby received far more milk than prescribed, and that the overfeeding couldn't have been an accident but was an intent to harm, per the BBC. That baby survived, but 7 others did not. In another instance, when an infant was in distress, Letby told off a co-worker who attempted to assist. "I was shocked because you can't have enough help in that situation," Lisa Walker testified, according to the BBC. "I was quite taken aback and shocked because it's something you would not expect a nurse to say." The prosecution alleged that Letby deliberately injected air into some babies' blood vessels, causing fatal air embolisms. She also force-fed milk into some babies' mouths or noses, causing them to choke or suffocate. She also poisoned 2 babies with insulin, causing them to suffer hypoglycemia or low blood sugar. The prosecution claimed that Letby was a calculating and devious opportunist who gaslighted her colleagues to cover her murderous assaults. They said that she targeted vulnerable babies when she was alone with them or when no one was paying attention. They also said that she showed no remorse or empathy for her actions or for the parents who lost their babies. The defense argued that Letby was innocent and that the deaths and collapses were the result of serial failures in care on the unit. They said that Letby was a scapegoat for a system that wanted to blame someone when it failed. They also said that there was no clear evidence linking Letby to the crimes, and that the prosecution relied on circumstantial evidence and speculation. Prosecutor Johnson described Letby as a malevolent presence in the hospital, claiming that the killer nurse falsified her notes to cover her tracks. The prosecution also showed the jury text messages sent from Letby to a friend in which the former nurse wrote he had a mini meltdown over what happened at work. The texts were exchanged within weeks of the deaths of 3 infants. Jurors were also shown post-it notes written by Letby, that prosecutors say were found during a search of her home. One note called Letby a horrible evil person who isn't good enough, while another read, "I haven't done anything wrong, and they have no evidence, so why have I had to hide away?" Former co-workers also testified against Letby.
Would go off during the night especially. There would be...
On October 24, 2022, one colleague testified that the health of an infant girl, identified only as Child B, began to decline rapidly under Letby's care. Child B's twin brother had already died, and when the baby girl became sick, the colleague's first thought was, "Not again," because there was such an unusually high number of unexplained infant deaths in the unit. "Babies can be very poorly quickly, but there is usually some indication that is happening," she testified. "We had no undue concerns." Later in the trial, Letby's supervisor testified that she observed Letby spending an unusual amount of time with a premature baby whom she wasn't assigned to care for. That baby unexpectedly declined in health and died. Her supervisor claimed that Letby spent time with the family of the baby who eventually died rather than her own designated baby. "I asked Lucy to focus on her designated baby because I was still concerned about him," testified the supervising nurse, whose name is being protected per British law. However, Lucy went into the family room a few times, and I asked her to come out and leave that family with the assigned nurse instead. The trial lasted for more than 10 months, and it is believed to be the longest murder trial in the UK. The jury deliberated for more than 76 hours before reaching their verdict. They found Letby guilty of 7 counts of murder and 6 counts of attempted murder. They found her not guilty of 2 counts of attempted murder. They could not reach verdicts on 6 further counts of attempted murder. Letby refused to appear in court for the verdicts or for her sentencing hearing. On August 18, 2023, Letby was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 40 years before she can be considered for parole. The judge described her as a cold, calculated, cruel, and relentless killer who betrayed the trust of her patients, colleagues, and profession. He said that she caused unimaginable pain and anguish to the parents who lost their babies or saw them suffer at her hands. He also said that she showed no remorse or insight into her crimes. The parents of the babies who were killed or harmed by Letby expressed their relief and gratitude after the sentencing. They said that they hoped that Letby would never see the light of day again, and that they could finally have some closure after years of agony. They also said that they hoped that their babies' deaths would not be in vain, and that lessons would be learned from this case to prevent such tragedies from happening again. The case of Lucy Letby is one of the most shocking and disturbing cases of serial killing in British history. It raises many questions about how a seemingly normal and caring nurse could turn into a ruthless and heartless killer. It also raises questions about how such crimes could go undetected for so long, and how the healthcare system could fail to protect the most vulnerable and innocent lives. It is a case that will haunt the memories of many people for years to come. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep safe and keep vigilant.